Bullshit! Bullshit. Bullshit, bullshit. And to add an addendum, bullshit. For those of you that don't know, they just came out with an announcement that Paramount Pictures has decided to delay GI Joe Retaliation from what was going to be released on June 29th to 9 months later on March 29th, 2013, which means it's not going to come out till next year. Now, well, let me get into first what the reason is why they're going to delay this. Now, according to ComingSoon.net's report, which they apparently got the press release, and a couple of other sites I've checked who have confirmed this, it is, quote, "It is increasingly evident that 3D resonates with moviegoers globally, and together with Paramount, we've made the decision to bring fans an even more immersive entertainment experience," end quote, said Brian Goldner, Hasbro president and CEO, and fucking asshole. This is bullshit of the highest degree. Yeah, so it's being delayed 9 months in order to add 3D to the fucking film. And the real reason behind this, and pretty much everyone's speculating this, is, okay, Hasbro released Battleship. If you haven't seen my review, I don't blame you. It was 50 minutes long because it was 50 minutes of me ripping into it. One of the things I didn't, though, mention about it was I didn't see it in 3D. Because it's not a problem. I didn't want to see it in 3D. Hasbro apparently is reacting crazy and pushing their movie back an entire year so they can add 3D to try to get a miserable profit. But apparently they're not fucking looking at the market. Right? Consistently, 3D returns on 3D screenings are going down. People are rejecting 3D. It's extra money that doesn't add anything, especially post conversions. I avoid those. I do not see those movies in 3D. I don't see movies in 3D for that reason, and I'm not alone. Every bit of market data that's been released, and every expert in the field, people that actually track movies as an industry, and not just like Hollywood trends. I'm talking about the Wall Street accountant type people that track. They care about returns with the numbers. Say the same thing. No. 3D is increasingly fewer and fewer people choose to see movies in 3D, and it's just getting worse and worse and worse. The Avengers, an abysmal amount of a tiny amount of people saw that in 3D compared to who went and saw it in 2D. Now, granted, that extra $3 they sock you is almost all profit. It looks like this is a cumulative effect of probably both Battleship's return and John Carter. Both of which movies were already in 3D, I believe. I believe John Carter was in 3D. And they both failed. So obviously 3D is not going to fucking save your movie. And if this seems unreasonably angry for a movie delay, listen, I know movies get delayed all the time, but they don't get delayed with what? We're about a month. We're literally a week away from it being a month out before this thing was going to be released. That is what's bullshit. You do not hype up your movie, which basically means all that advertising money. This is the big thing. All that money you spend on advertisements, because this thing has been in plenty of theaters. The movie trailer. It's been on television. They've already spent money on a marketing campaign. They've been teaming up with Machinima to release trailers, and other viral marketing stuff, ads. They've released all this stuff. All that stuff cost money, and I'm guessing a rather decent chunk of money, which means that money's gone to waste because the audience has to wait 9 months. It has to wait till the next movie season. It's trying to catch that early March wave, which means people would have kind of forgotten or might even go, didn't that already come out? I remember it being advertised. You now have to rebuild up the hype. So any money you make off those 3D showings are probably just going to make up for the fact you had to spend extra money on advertisements. This is such a piss poor move by Goldner, who I think is just really acting extremely irrationally to the fact that they had a failure. I mean, listen, Hasbro is not a major movie house. It doesn't have these experiences. To their credit, okay, Disney, when John Carter failed, they announced that they canceled one of their long-term projects of having a live-action Snow White movie. Now, there's probably a very good reason for this. Is one, they actually took a much more significant hit. They lost $200 million. But when they decided to pick who was going out, they picked the Snow White feature. Why? Because Snow White's and the Huntsman's coming out. So well, actually, I don't know why. I don't know why movie studios do this, but there's some sort of logic there. Okay, what's the project we're going to cut? One, it's a risky thing that we don't know whether it's going to work, and two, there's a very similar film coming out that is doing the same thing, adult live action Snow White. So we don't want to look like a copycat. We'll go with something else. See, that's more strategic. And also, they got something that wasn't already in production. Well, okay, granted, they're just delaying this, okay. But the idea of you're delaying this essentially for a year. It's 9 months, but in reality it's a year. You're pushing it back to next summer, basically. Or that March pre-summer season. Which is bullshit. You know what it is? It gives you a case of fucking blue balls. This is the movie equivalent of blue balls. You're literally a month out. Normally everything's set at this point. There's nothing to fucking change. And they go around and do this bullshit. They get the fans who've been hyped out of now this being dropped off, and of course we're pissed. And guess what? I'm not fucking seeing this movie in 3D. If they only release this movie in 3D, I'm not gonna fucking see it. Just to fucking piss on them. Obviously, this is Goldner's negative reaction. The fans have got to get together, and if you're a fan and you're kind of pissed off at this, email Hasbro immediately. Say you're not going to see it in 3D. Say even say I question whether to go to see this movie at all. This is such a bullshit move. I was prepped and ready to see this, and what, a month out you take it away? And especially when this one looks so much better than the previous movie. And I actually didn't mind the last movie. Granted, that was because I was thinking that the last movie was more of a setup for GI Joe to actually relaunch. Again, from Hasbro's perspective, they kind of went in a different direction. Because I figure instead of them recouping the old 80s stuff, they're using the movie as an excuse to do a whole new line of stuff. A relaunch, if you will. But that's a digression. Save for a better time. This is about really bad decisions from an immature group. It looks like, Hasbro it seemed like they had begun to really take the reins of their movies, and this is kind of showing the problem with doing that. Marvel started to assert more influence on its movies, but they waited till they had more than just one franchise under their belt. They waited till there was a lot of movies out. Even then, it was a slow rise before they started really asserting more influence over the movie products that they were coming out. To where they really now had experience in the movie industry. They had hits and they had failures, and they really learned from those failures in a mature manner. And what they did is they asserted more creative control early on. They didn't wait for post-production stuff. Post-production, when a studio, especially high-level executives, try to assert influence in post-production, that's when shit gets messed up. When they do it in pre-production, that's normally when you avert a disaster. When you go, oh, this looks horrible, let's change some of the basis of this. Because this is what you do. You see something mess up in the beginning, you're able to go, no, we don't want, this, we'll say, I don't know, an army of giant apes running through New York. Actually, that sounds pretty cool, but let's just say that however it was described sounds incredibly stupid. They can say, no, let's not do this. And then the more creative people, the writers, the directors, they can all think of a good alternative. They have the time to do that. This this is a really bad move. Hasbro had too much influence. I don't know what Paramount was thinking agreeing to this. They must want more deals, movie deals, and therefore they want to work with them. Paramount should have tried to fight back a little bit more. I don't know how the agreement is, like who's really wearing the pants here, or if this is really a dumb decision by Paramount. But start emailing them, tell them you're pissed off at this decision. Yeah, maybe they'll reverse themselves, because they're going to have to reverse themselves rather quickly. And, well, another thing I'm worried about this is they're pushing it back to May 20th. Apparently that's going up against Stephanie Meyer's The Host. Stephanie Meyer's. I know about The Host. I haven't read the book, but I've read a synopsis of it just to get an idea of what the general plot is on it. And it seems like it's going to be a bad movie. It's an alien invasion movie where they don't have to do any alien invasion stuff. We'll save that for discussion about Stephanie Meyer's, but this seems like it's a bad decision. They had staked out this June 29th date, and they looked pretty secure. If I'm reading correctly here, June 29th, what's scheduled to come out that day is Magic Mike. An experienced stripper takes a young performer called the Kid under his wing. Yeah, okay, starring Channing Tatum. This I haven't heard of anything like that. It looks more of an artsy, low-ball or comedy drama. I don't know. We've got that. Medita's Witness Protection. Okay, that's not a threat. Beasts of the Southern Wild, which is a limited release, PG-13. It looks like an animated drama. And the wall, Take This Wall. That's a couple of limited releases which aren't a threat. So you had this Magic Mike movie and Medita's Witness Protection. You had absolutely no fucking competition on this date. And now you're going to put it on a movie that's already staked out that date on May 29th, that we don't know how the host is such a huge fucking unknown, because you had Stephanie Meyer, who, say what you will about her writings in the Twilight movies, you can't deny they made fucking money. You might lose your fucking audience by putting it on that date. A lot of them might choose, especially teenage girls, might not, they might see GI Joe. But they might go, I like the Twilight series, I'll go see this other movie because it's from the same author. It makes perfect sense. Or I don't know, with the 14, 15-year-old category, maybe they, even some of the boys will like the books. I don't know. But the point is, you're going up against big competition. You might not make the number one spot. You would have made number one on this weekend date. And then again, there goes that whole, we did 3D, there goes all the money, extra money you might have made from 3D, assuming you make any extra money at all. There goes by just the girlfriends that went, no, we're not going to see GI Joe. We're going to go see The Host. And the boyfriends that aren't a super fan of GI Joe either, they'll go along because they would have seen GI Joe, but sex. So see The Host and have sex, see G.I. Joe. I'm not a massive fan of G.I. Joe. I don't know much about it. I just watch, I just look like an action movie. So they go to get sex and watch The Host. I mean, it could be The Host completely fails, which I wouldn't mind. But I'm saying, this is a huge gamble. You're going up against something that has already staked out, that has got major studio backing, and now you're going to go into a fight over this weekend? Bad call. Again, you're going to lose at least some money doing that. And if you're doing this to eke out some extra money, there it goes. You make no extra money by doing this move. It is so stupid. Betrayal. Again, betrayal because they fucking moved it a month out when you're all set. Think about all the other stuff that Hasbro must have prepped for this. All the toys they were going to release for this. They're going to put that on delay. What do you got to call up now? Are you even going to release the stuff for the movie, which is going to give away movie plots? It's such a bad call. It's such a bad call. And if the movie does fine in March, it's still a bad call because it would have done fine right now. I've gone on for 15 minutes. It's enough for this. It's a bad call. Email them quickly. Email Hasbro and Paramount complaining the hell out of this. Maybe if they get a massive negative reaction rather quickly, they'll go, on second thought. I hope that's what happens. And if Hasbro, you're watching this, fuck you. You don't do this a month out. You can do this 4 months out, 5 months out, something like that. I would have been, oh, really? But I wouldn't have been pissed. You don't do this close. Signing off.